want to read you an award that today's speaker received. And most of you aren't going to know about this award because of what she's going to be speaking about today. But let me read it to you. The Scholar Hero Award. Students from EA that are affiliated with the organization A Better Chance nominated our speaker for this award. And it goes as follows. We allow the scholars themselves to nominate representatives from their respective schools to receive a new award that we have dubbed the Scholar Hero Award. This award is granted to a few staff members each year who are selected by the scholars because they make their schools a better and happier place for all. It's my distinct pleasure to let you know that you, Mrs. Portlock, have been selected to be one of the inaugural winners of the award by the students of the Episcopal Academy. Let's stop there and give her a round of applause for that, please. She's a good friend, and you know that being head of diversity and community life really requires some key characteristics and traits. And she has them all in terms of the stripes. But there's one in particular that she has that is really essential for a person in her role, and that is the characteristic of empathy, the ability to get into someone else's shoes so that you can understand what it may be like to be someone who is different from you. Very important for her role, for all of our roles for that matter. And a second thing that she's going to speak to you about this morning. So please stand to greet our Director of Diversity and Community Life, Mrs. Portlock.
Please be seated. Thank you so much, Reverend Squire, for that intro, and thank you, Vestry, for allowing me to speak with you today. Have you ever had humble pie? Maybe it was a slice, or maybe the whole pie. If you have had humble pie, then you must be familiar with the warning label that says, hard to digest, especially when you're full of yourself. You're probably also familiar with the ingredients included in humble pie. There's some embarrassment, there's some hurt feelings, there's some self-reflection, perspective, perseverance, and modesty. I have had humble pie a few times. But the good news is that I believe that with God, all things are possible. And it is because of my faith that I am taught valuable lessons about myself and about my relationship with God when I have humble pie. In the verse that was read to you, Matthew chapter 23, verse 12, it says this, "And whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will be exalted." If you haven't had humble pie yet, not to worry. We all perhaps get a chance to try it. Humble pie tastes differently depending on how big the slice. I will share one example where I exalted myself and consequently had humble pie, a pretty big slice, I might add. In 10th grade, I joined the track team. Running wasn't something I particularly enjoyed, but my science teacher was the track coach, assistant track coach, and he said I should give it a try. In practice, I began to focus on the 200 meters. At first, I didn't feel like I was particularly any good, but I received a lot of encouragement and managed to finish races in the low end of the somewhat respectable range. So one day, on the way to a track meet, the coach says, "We're a runner down. Courtney," that's me, for those of you that don't know my first name, "you'll run the 400 meters today." So in my head, I was thinking, well, no sweat. Piece of cake, I run the 200, so the 400 shouldn't be that bad. So, do I have any track runners in here? You raise your hand if you run track or have ever run track. Okay. So, I figured, it's only double. I shouldn't be too bad off running the 400. So, I got up to the line, and all the girls were talking about how I was probably going to win because I had long legs. So I told the girls, I'm probably not going to win, so don't worry. Then they said, oh, she's trying to psych us out. She's trying to psych us out. She knows that she's going to win. And I really wasn't trying to psych them out, but I was starting to believe the hype about myself in that moment. I was thinking, this foreshadowed victory is in my future. The crowd was loud. There were hundreds of people standing around the track and in the stands, and my little brother was on his feet cheering before the starting gun was blown. When the race began, I took off at full speed. Can you guess what happened next? Well, at about 200 meters, I hit a wall. Not a literal wall, but an emotional and physical wall, right? So I was quickly lapped by all the runners, and my coach was jogging, that's right, now jogging, alongside of me, and trying to get me to finish, encouraging me to go to the finish line. I came in last place with many, 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 many minutes added to my time. And subsequently, I had a hearty slice of humble pie. You see, that warning label was actually right. It is hard to digest, especially when you're full of yourself. I could actually taste every ingredient, especially the ones at the top. Embarrassment and hurt feelings, but also self-reflection eventually, and perspective, perseverance, and modesty. Eventually, I was able to brainstorm what I could have done differently to prepare for the next time. Now let me be clear that exalting oneself is not the same as having confidence. See, having confidence actually includes believing in your abilities, while exalting yourself includes arrogance and usually means that humble pie is in your near future. We have seen many examples in the media and around us of people being humbled. My message to all of you is to acknowledge when you are having humble pie. It is usually during those moments that you grow the most. I encourage you to be confident. Trust in your spiritual relationships, whether that relationship is with God or another form of a higher power. And take time to do the following 5 things. The following 5 things. Number 1, ask for help. Ask for help. Number 2, help others. Help others. Number 3, show empathy. Show empathy. Number 4, be happy for one another. Be happy for one another. And number 5, say thank you. Say thank you. I have realized that humble pie is usually taken off the menu when I have sought the advice of someone else, when I have helped someone else, when I have listened to the stories of someone else, and when I have shown gratitude for all of my blessings. Now, when I stray from these 5 things in the hustle and bustle of life, I am reminded of a phrase that my childhood pastor would say most Sundays. He would say, "It's not my business how you treat me, but it's God's business how I treat you." So it's not my business how you treat me, but it's God's business how I treat you. I hope this message is helpful to you. Thank you.